It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast as we talk your property news, your real estate news 7 days a week, as heard on iHeartRadio, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Hope you had a fantastic weekend around Australia, no matter what you were doing. Of course, not just in Australia, but wherever you are listening to. A lot of expats listening to us in the likes of the UK and the US. So nice to have you with us. It is a Monday morning, September the 16th today. And good morning to Martin and Renee in Footscray in Melbourne this morning. Now, you say that you found us by accident 3 months ago and you've been listening ever since. Both of you are first home buyers and looking at various regions in Queensland. You say that you've got friends that have done exactly the same thing and they have moved, and you are both looking for a bit of a change in your lives as you approach the big 3-0. Boy, what I would give to be approaching 30 again. It's not big. Don't talk yourself into that, Martin and Renee. Now, the aim is, you say, to be house owners within the next 5 months, which is when Martin reaches 30. So let us know how the property relocation journey goes for both of you, and thanks for taking the time out to email us. Of course, you too can join in on the conversation. Our email is myrealestatepodcast@gmail.com. Now, with everything that is happening across in the US right now, we thought it would be interesting to find out about the American real estate market as we catch up with Medora Lee. And Medora is a reporter with USA Today. And Medora, the mortgage rates, they fell for the sixth straight week last week to the lowest level, I note, since February of 2023. Of course, this is welcome relief in the housing market. So many people still sitting on the fence. But how much do you think that the mortgage rates falling is going to help the housing market out?
You would think that it would be giving the market a boost very much right now, but it's actually hasn't shown yet. Applications for a mortgage to purchase a home rose 2% for the week, but they're still 3% lower than the same week a year ago. So people are saying that that's because affordability and low inventory continues to be a problem. I mean, even though maybe the mortgage rates have dropped, the median home price is still up more than 36% from July 2019 and near historic highs. So mortgage rates will help a little bit on your monthly payment, but that payment is still going to be big.
In theory, the market should be looking next year a little bit more even. But as you say, we just don't know. One world event can, Medora, change things pretty quickly when it comes to the real estate market.
That's true. And what's the one big event that we're having here in the U.S. soon in November? The election. People are very uncertain of which way that's going to go. It's been a very tight race, and that's a huge unknown. And a lot of studies show that just the mere fact of uncertainty makes people freeze up and they can't really make a decision one way or another. It's actually been studied for a very, very long time now, going back decades, and it's called the disjunction effect. When there's uncertainty, you can't move left or right. You just have to wait until the outcome is known before you can make a move.
Yes, the election, it is definitely looming large. I mean, I can't believe that there are so many of these so-called undecided voters out there. The media still talks about this group of undecideds who might affect the general election. There aren't any undecided people now, surely, after the Harris-Trump debate, the Harris-Walz campaign, that seems to be marching on, but it's going to be a very tight election, which is what you're saying.
I actually do know some people who are still undecided, if you can believe it. They have been pretty unhappy the last few years. They feel like the prices have gone up a lot and they struggle with their finances.
Just talk a little bit more about that disjunction effect, because it's almost like a paralysis where people, as you say, they just sort of freeze up and they decide that for whatever reason, when it comes to especially real estate, people just have to wait until they shake it out of their system in terms of the general election for real estate.
Not just real estate, it's sort of like any sort of big purchase. I think I just read an article this morning that said this is happening also in the automobile market. You know, there's a pileup of inventory, and a lot of the dealers will tell you it's because of the election. Now, I don't know if people are just waiting for rates to fall and maybe they can get better auto loans or auto loan rates or what. But I really think that it's just this idea that people have. They just can't make a decision, even if the thing that they're waiting for an answer for has no effect whatsoever on their decision. It's a strange thing. You know, I think they've tested a lot of people and they've given them a choice to, you know, they say, can you make this decision, even if you're not sure what grade you're going to get on this test? And the students have said, no, they can't make a decision. But then they say, okay, well, let's test you again. And, you know, you've failed. Now, can you make a decision? And surprisingly, they can. So it's kind of a strange thing, but it is a real phenomenon that has been studied for decades.
I just wonder if you're a natural procrastinator, you are going to fall into that whole trap. If you are somebody that perhaps makes decisions quite quickly, maybe it doesn't affect you so much. What do you think?
I think that they said that it affects most people, so it doesn't really matter. The thing that I think affects people the most in making these decisions is if they're looking at doing something they would consider big. So buying a home would certainly be a big thing. And I don't know whether the result of Harris or Trump is going to have a big effect on whether you should buy a car or not, but somehow it's freezing the market. So there you go. So it's probably doing a little bit the same with the housing market.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see what happens in the general election. Of course, the US economy has a flow-on effect here in Australia. It's an important historic election, that is for sure. The biggest one in modern US politics, without a doubt. And we are talking to Medora in the US this morning. We'll come back after this.
Why pay a premium for advertising that's too expensive? Our listeners are actively engaged in the real estate market. Get your message directly into the ears that can influence your business.
Well, I see that a new report reveals 23 oversupplied Queensland suburbs where buyers have the upper hand, with some areas offering thousands of homes for sale. Suburb data found that locations like Greenbank and Banksia Beach have more than 3% of their housing stock on the market, giving buyers more choice and less competition. Is this good news, I hear you ask? Well, there is a little bit of a flip side. Some of the other areas is Nikenbah and Hervey Bay. Now, that topped the list with 8.3% of homes for sale. However, analysts do warn that while these areas may offer affordability, buyers do risk falling into negative equity where home values drop below the purchase price. Some markets could take, they say, up to a decade to recover from oversupply. And talking of the regions, and this will be of note for you, Martin and Renee, tomorrow we're going to be in Bundaberg, and we've never talked about the Bundaberg market, so we'll do that first thing tomorrow morning.
From powerful and up-to-date news to professional real estate experts with the latest property trends on the Real Estate Podcast.
And we are back on our Real Estate Monday, talking with Medora in the US, trying to give a little bit of a breakdown on what is currently happening in the US property housing market. Now, just the same as in Australia, there are many different platforms, real estate platforms, giving out a lot of data and information. One of those in the US is called Zillow, and they expect home values to climb 1.8 4.8% for the year of 2024. They said that last month they were anticipating 4.1 million home sales for the year, which would be 1% more than last year, but lower than the previous forecast of 4.2 million home sales. Now, so far this year in the US, sales have remained lower than the flow of homes coming onto the market. And what about inventory? Well, in the US, it's around 25% higher compared to 12 months ago. And then if you look beyond 2024, easing inflation, they say, and more accommodating mortgage rates should improve affordability slightly. This would help stimulate the housing activity, they say, with both new listings and sales rising over the long term. So that's just to give everybody a little bit of a context back in Australia, Medora. But what do you think? When do you think home sales will pick up?
So in the very short term, some people think that maybe the end of September and into October, we could see a little spike in home sales as a little more inventory comes onto the market and if mortgage rates continue to drop. I think that maybe 2025 might see more with more people coming with their homes onto the market, some new construction. And then, some surveys say the magic number to get people back into the housing market is about 5% for mortgage rates. So until maybe we see something in the 5% range, people may kind of sit on the sidelines until then.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. Gee, there's a counterbalance to just about anything these days, particularly in the market when it comes to real estate that we live in. Well, great to catch up with you, Medora, get a few of your ideas and in terms of what is happening around the housing market, very much appreciated. Good luck with those upcoming elections in November.
Thank you for having me.
It's the Real Estate Podcast, talking properties from 6 a.m. every day, from every corner of the Australian real estate market.
We're getting some fixed rates around 5.8% now over 2 or 3 years. That's pretty good in the market at the moment, which is 25, 30, 40 basis points less than existing variable rate.
5.8%. A lot of people might be listening to the podcast and saying, really, I can fix my rate across that period of time for 5.8%. I mean, this is the great thing about the podcast, Anthony, is always being informative for people to shop around.
Yeah, well, we can get a Macquarie 2-year fixed at 5.79 with a 70% loan to value ratio. ING's got a 3-year fixed, which is even a little bit lower than that, 5.69%. They're out there. Give them certainty about their repayments. Don't have to watch the news every night worried about what the interest rate and the board's going to do.
But yes, you are getting a generation that has a bit more of a focus on lifestyle, that probably aren't wanting to compromise as much. In fact, we found in our research that some of them expect to start their economic life in the manner in which they've seen their parents finish their economic life.
And so the quicker you can actually shut that auction process down, which means bidding with more enthusiasm and with more aggression toward the top end of your budget, the likelihood is you're actually going to start to slow down your competition.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.